The member for Davenport.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, I'm really happy for the chance to speak today to Bill 166, the Toronto Ranked Ballot Voting Act. And I want to thank the member from Scarborough-Guildwood for bringing forward this bill. The bill that we're debating here today, as you know, is a response to a request that was made by the majority of Toronto City Councillors who asked for the legislative tools from the province to allow them to move forward to explore alternative voting options, and specifically this issue of ranked ballot voting. I also want to thank people who have come into the galleries today for being here. We don't always see, it might not seem like it's very full, but in fact there's more people here today than there usually are in the galleries, and I think that's a good thing. By a show of hands, and of course through the Speaker, I'd like to know how many people here for the first time here today, first time in the... This is awesome. That's fantastic. Yes. Through the Speaker. So again, through the Speaker, I would like to welcome you and thank you for being here today. I think that's great. So, as we know, proponents of electoral reform have identified that there are real problems in our city and in politics in our city, and they suggest that a ranked ballot voting system could change how we elect our representatives and begin to transform the political culture in Toronto, which I believe is important. Proponents say that ranked ballot choice, runoff ballots, could help eliminate vote splitting and reduce strategic voting. It could ensure majority support for winning candidates. It would ensure majority support for winning candidates. It would discourage negative campaigning, and it would provide more choices for voters. All of these are important objectives and they're goals that I agree with, because it's clear to me that we see increased cynicism about politics, not just in Toronto, but in Ontario and right across the country, and that's something that we need to address. And I think people are cynical for good reason. I think people see that the system's not working very well for them. They see scandal after scandal. They see too many politicians who put their own interests first. They see a system that's broken, that's been underfunded, that's been privatized, and that continues to put profit before people. And they see a system that delivers only for the most privileged. It delivers for those who are well-connected. Well-connected insiders come first, while too many people are left outside in the cold. And people feel too often that politics happens to them. It happens somewhere else. Somebody else is involved. But it doesn't happen with you, and that's a problem. But I think there are hopeful signs. I know that down the street at Toronto City Hall, many people, some of the same people who are here today in the gallery, have been working to change the political culture in our city. I know that often municipal politics feels closer to the ground, closer to the people, and I know from experience that Toronto City Council, Toronto City Hall, does feel more open and more accessible to people here. Too often this place, that was named for the Queen, feels more like a castle, and we forget that this is our building, it belongs to the people of this province. It's intimidating to enter, you might have found that when you came in here today, and it's difficult to participate here. You probably noticed that you weren't allowed to bring your telephone in, and you're not even allowed to write notes here in the gallery. I think all of that is problematic. But it is different at Toronto City Hall. People are more engaged, I believe, and they're connecting with their politicians in different ways. And they've asked them to examine new ways to run elections in Toronto. And so that's why in June of 2013, a majority of city councillors voted to ask the province for the tools to reform their electoral system. And that motion was supported by city councillors from right across the political spectrum. It was supported by New Democrats like Mike Layton and Gord Perks in the West End of Toronto, by Davenport Liberals like Anna Ballot and Cesar Palacio, by Conservatives like Karen Stintz and Gary Crawford. People from across the spectrum supported this motion. And I hope that all parties in here today and that all members will also support the bill that's being raised here today. I've heard from many residents in my community, in my riding of Davenport, people who've been inspired by the Rabbit campaign and who have asked for change, and they want change. And that's why on February 25th, I introduced a private member's bill that would allow Toronto to proceed with electoral reform. Thank you. And it's why I'm happy to stand here today on behalf of residents of my riding of Davenport to support Bill 166. Because residents of Toronto have the right to have this discussion, to have this debate, and to make a decision. Because we need people in the city to know that their voice matters. We need people in the city and across Ontario to remember that politics matter, and that they deserve real choices, and that they deserve to have their voice and their vote count, and that they deserve to have a politics that really does put people first. I believe that we can have a positive politics in this city and right across the province of Ontario. I believe that we can have political representatives that strive to represent the complexities of the communities that they serve. And we can have a political system where politicians earn their mandate and are supported by a majority of the electorate. We can do better, and I believe we deserve the chance to do better, and that's why I'll be supporting Bill 166 today. Thank you very much, Speaker.